'cause the end is now. This is gonna be a journey.
Hello! Hello! How's everyone doing today? How is everyone doing? It is Sunday. You know what that means. It is time once again for everybody to tune in to the Space Sheriff Gav-sudan. I am, of course, your host with the most, the mercenary with the kicks, coming to you from 2286. It is Call Sign Henshin coming to you live. How's everyone doing today? How is everybody doing today? Let me hear it. How y'all's doing? How y'all's doing? I hope your weekend has been going great so far. I hope that you have had yourselves an amazing Saturday night. Woke up this morning feeling refreshed. It's time for Chojaku. It's time for Electroplating. It's time to see where we're going with this Space Sheriff reboot. Because so far, episode 1 is our classic introduction of our main hero. But now our side hero comes in. The new guy, Bushido, is going to come in, and we're going to find out a little more about this whole multiverse theory, about what the heck's going on with the realm. What is exactly what we're doing with here? We got a little basic rundown, but as far as we know, this documentation division has more going for it than we know, and that they were not able to clarify, saying that's a story for another day. What's the story? What's the dealio? Why does everyone dunk on documentation? I mean, the name itself already sounds like it's a boring thing, but it feels like there's more to it as to why everyone thinks they're lazy, right? There's got to be more to it. More to that perception. Because ultimately, it's got to be a calculated move. How you doing, Scruff? It's got to be a calculated move to make people not think about them, right? Like, there's got to be more to that story. There's got to be more to the story of what it is documentation really does and what their whole dealio is. It's like there's got to be something on there. I don't know if we're gonna get that story in this episode we're about to watch. That Daiki brought it's not that they brought shame. Is that he is bringing. But the problem is that that's a perception, right? That's Patlan's perception. As far as we know, we don't know exactly what's going on. Remember, they're top secret. Documentation is a front. But, like, why do they need a front? Why does this need to be a secret? There's, like, so many questions for that. That's the big question we were left with. Why is documentation's mission top secret? Why do they have to be perceived the way they are? Right? Like, there's so many questions to this. What's going on with them? What's going on with the department? What's the true secret behind the department? Again, I don't know if we're getting our answer this episode, but this episode we are learning about Bushido. So what's Bushido's whole thing? What's Ayokura's whole thing? What's his joint? What's his joint? Why is he the Silver Bushido? Why? Why is he a Gavan? Questions that need answers. You feel me? We need answers. And I feel like me flapping my gums here, asking those questions is not going to get us any closer to those answers. So you all know what time it is. Let's head over to our cinema. It is time for us to perceive Gavan Infinity. Perfect timing on the music. All right, here we are in our cinema. Here we are in the show. That's the blue Gavan? No, it's actually the silver Gavan. But because there is blue on him, but it's not a focal point. Right? It's not a focal point, which I find very interesting. So he's not technically the blue Gavan, but I mean, for all intensive purposes, like he's like kind of labeled as such, but he's more silver than blue, if that makes any sense. So anyway, here we are. This is our patented True and Blue Henshin Cinema, where the best Tokusatsu is played, where the latest Tokusatsu is played. Obviously, you guys can't see it. I can see it perfectly. I will have it blurred for copyright reasons so we can have this review. But here we are with the second episode of Space Sheriff Gavan Infinity. Here we are. It's time to see what exactly are we dealing with here with Gavan Bushido. What's his whole story? We're about to find out. This is Space Sheriff Gavan Infinity, Episode 2. Here we go. Project Red. Gavan. Wait, what? What you say? Uh-oh. Maku Space! I love how, like, that has remained a constant, Maku Space. I love that. That, to me, is, like, that, the fact that that's still around and it's called that, even though the Space Mafia Maku is gone, is like, I love it. Hikido! Ooh, shot through the head! Kenji Oba has health issues? She's fast. I love how, like, he's surprised by his own creation. I love that. Like, it's just like he's baffled by that shit. Dude, you made her. What the fuck? And he's under arrest. Is Kenji Oba the current Gavan or is it the old school Gavan? Oh, antagonist? Hello? Wait. Old school Gavan? Damn. Another. Whoa! Evil Gavan. Evil Gavan. Why is there an evil Gavan? What is happening? Oh, wait, I forgot to unmute. Sorry.
よ、体調どうだ？
おかげさまで。
よかった。そうだ。兄貴とこれのこと少し聞きたくてね。
機嫌悪そう。
こいつはこれが普通激怒って言うんだ。
Oh, we're about to learn a little bit about him.
銀河連邦警察と地球の司法機関の取り決めによりそこもとは地球側で取り調べを行うことになった。さよう心得よ。
お前たち
Uh-oh.
毎日流れるニュースを見て何の感情も湧かないのか。
Don't you even feel anything?
すべきは世界の指導者どもだ。
妹の涙 赤いギャバンの言葉響いてないのか？
妹には関係ない。
Oh, he's falling back. Having a fall back. Whoa! Mechanical arm. Look at these fucking clowns.
世界を変えるんだってストレス溜めて世界中の偉い人にメール送りつけてた頃、これ手に入れてきたの。
誰から手に入れたかわかるか？
I doubt she'd know.
そこまでは。ただ世界を変えたいならこれがお前の感情を一番理解してくれるって言われたって。
Did you not see Gokaiger versus Gavan? I said,
悪い。
I didn't see. I didn't even realize that was a thing. I have to look that up.
分析結果が出た。クズミとゴと持っていたエモルギアの痕跡が一致した。出どころは同じだ。
次元を超えてエモルギアをばらまいてるやつは確実にいる。
ああ、そうだ。
レイジ君、緊急事態です。
Eh? These fucking clowns.
急げ。ここはそれがしが食い止める。はい。
商売の邪魔よの銀河連邦警察。
商売ではクズミにエモルギアを売ったのはこの男か。
まさしくピンクの地球は良き手元だった。
This guy.
他の力は武器に使えると今や世界中からエモルギアの注文が殺到しとるわ。クズミはもう用済み。故に劣った。
He has outlived his purpose. Yikes! Necromancy again. I do appreciate that we're dealing with. Oh Jesus! I do appreciate that we're dealing more with like actual like crime and not just Monster of the Week. But I do quite enjoy because this feels more realistic to what a police force would be. Even though it has its Monster of the Week component, it's more people. It's more human crime. So it adds a bit of realism to it, you know. But still got the mystical powers and shit.
キャツがエモルギアを売った犯罪組織の元締めだ。
そうか、あの野郎が。お前地球人か？
Nope.
人造人間。
Artificial human.
にて作られた消耗品の兵士。いわば人形だ。
人形ってお前血出てたぞ。
戦場では効果がある。痛みも感じる。
That's a fucking weird thing to program into a super soldier. That is super weird.
作ったやつは
それがし愛国員刹那と申す者。何の感情も持たず命令に従い回復機能を備えた体で星から星を渡り歩いた。
I haven't actually thought that through, Dane. Like, I'm kind of happy where I am right now as a writer mercenary, but like, I've never actually, like, again, this goes back to what I said before. Gavan has been out, space sheriffs have been out of the public eye, so it's not something that I've never been like, how do I put this? Like, what's the word? Like, so I haven't really thought about Metal Heroes that much. The fact that they're back in the public eye might get me to think like that, but I haven't thought about it.
理解はしている。だが、それがしは戦うために作られた人形。ギャバンの称号にはふさわしくない。
人間だろうが人形だろうが
昔のことがどうだとか俺には関係ねえな。違うか？
I don't care about your past, or should I?
そこもと何故ギャバンに。
I do like that Gavan Bushido is more closer to the original Gavan design.
銀河連邦警察、貴様を潰せば商売しやすくなるわ。
おい。人の人生ぶっ壊して食う飯はうまいか？お前が売りつけたエモルギアで泣いてる人が
I
いる
do
んだ。
love the bumpers. The bumpers are really good.
悪いのは勝った方よな。
来た来た、悪党の定番ゼリフ。俺にそういうの言わない方がいい。
Oh yeah, right. There's a sense of nobleness here about this. Chochaku! I love that. And it's so satisfying to say Chochaku. And I feel like that's what Toei has down. Like they know that one key word.
まさか次元超越者だったのか。
宇宙刑事ギャバンインフィニティ、次元を超えて出張中だ。
よその宇宙で命を捨てに来たか。物好きめ、自分の宇宙に突っ込んでおれ。
Oh, he can just summon these joints. Electroplate doesn't hit in English as much as just saying Chochaku. Like that hits. And he just suplexed the fuck out of that guy.
師匠が大事にしてたもんを俺も守るって決めてるからな。
Woo! And here's the thing, Toei has always been good with choreography.
何を守るだと？
全宇宙だ。お天道様に胸張って言ってやるな。全次元の宇宙が俺の管轄だ。
All of the multiverse is under my jurisdiction, baby.
刹那、あなたはあなたのため
Oh,
に生きている。
more backstory.
なんという男だ。全宇宙にその身を捧げるのも己のためだという
He's it's I love like the resounding realization when that kicks in. I love that shit.
それがしも誓おう。己のために。
The multiverse of madness, yeah. I mean, to be fair, I feel like every multiverse would be madness in its own way, you know? So he's just mainly silver with blue trim.
それはギャバンシステム発動のコマンドだ。では
Hey, here we go. Watch it
もう
again.
一度見てみよう。乗着コマンドを受けて臨界点を超えたエモルギーがトリガー内に凝縮されたギャバリオン粒子と融合。
到着。
I love that like we're getting that for each new one that we meet.
1ミリ秒でコンバット数値と投射成形され乗着を完了するのだ。
That okay, in this shot, the armor just looks beautiful. I love this.
宇宙刑事ギャバン武士道参る。
Dual blades. Here we go. I think the female one we're gonna meet later is called Gavan Luminous, if I remember correctly. But I don't know when we're gonna meet her. I don't know if she's the next episode. We'll see in the preview. Or how Gavan Bushido is going to be like a regular player.
二刀流か。
剣士のギャバン。
とってもギャバいですよ。
ギャバンども、お前たちの墓場はここだ。
What's he going to do? Oh, now we're getting the Maku space play.
一緒に来い。真空空間に突っ込む。
アギちゃんのワンポイント。真空空間。そこは無数の次元が複雑に絡まり合う。
God, Maku space is always such an interesting mechanic to me.
足を踏み入れたらたちまち体が引き裂かれちゃう。不条理世界なのです。
あれは。
Why Toei like hammy villains? Because they're like easily more detestable, right? Because they give an air like they don't take themselves seriously. And like to them, playing with people is a game, so they're psychotic. So they're easier to hate, right? Like for those of you who don't know, I mean, they didn't really mention it in the explanation, but Maku space actually makes the monsters stronger, right? And Gavan can still defeat them, which says a lot. They rely on this. They rely on Maku space to like try to make the monsters more powerful, but it never tracks. Like it never sticks because at the end of the day, Gavan will still triumph. Like, but it's become like a crutch for villains, but in a good way. Because it lets them do like more like, think like the dream stuff we've been seeing in Zets. It lets them do more stuff like that. It lets them like, it makes them like change things up. Was that Kenji? Henshin. Let's go with the mech, baby. Assault form approved. And I love how those two detectives are like clueless to what's going on. I love that stuff. Jimangada. Oh my god, this is amazing. So I think I might have butchered that. I don't remember if that's how exactly it went. But now that shows something interesting. The thing is, the giant robots didn't used to be bipedal. The original Gavan's ship turned into a dragon, which was super badass. The original Gavan's mech was a fucking blue dragon. Now this raises question about that kook, that crazy motherfucker, right? That kooky motherfucker, right? With the metal arm, our current villain. He's not human because he can survive here. So what exactly is he? You know? Is he gonna do the dynamic? He just cut that man's arm off, I think. Fire the beam! Oh. See, that was pretty damn good. which is an interesting
恐るべ
divide.
しギャバン魔空空間を消し去るとは
覚悟する。そこもとの犯罪すべて暴いてみせよう。しっかり取り調べてくれよ。誰がこいつにエモルギアを下ろしたのか、そこを突き止めなければこの事案は終わりじゃない。
Oh. That fucking Dark Gavan, that's
意
crazy.
識が回復したと先ほど連絡があった。
妹にも教えて安心させてやれ。
そこ元には世話になった。無礼の数々お許し。
When are they gonna make GQ Spielbun?
俺だってやらかしてる。
The original singer. I'll get a new singer.
少なくとも
I'm pretty
手
sure
錠は
they'll.
無駄だということは分かった。
やり方今度教えてやるよ。
Dude, Daiki is such a lovable hero.
人間ならば別れの涙を流すところか。
俺は泣かねえよ。
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
またな。
That was interesting. And now we're out of here. Back to the main planet.
この地球でのエモルギア供給は阻止され
So,
た。悪の根源を断たねば人々の嘆きの連鎖は続く。
あとは頼んだ。
次元を超えろ。乗着せよ。
this just feels right.
宇宙刑事ギャバン。
And mute because insert thing, insert song, or ending song. I want to actually go back and listen to that, but man, like, okay, that's funny. Like, there's a lot we need to take in here. Okay, they're already showing Luminous, so that tells me probably next episode. We're waiting on the preview. The fact that they're already having her in the outro means she's got to be the next step. And they're doing the Sentai dance. There's a Sentai dance. God damn it. I love how like fucking I forgot his name already. Fuck. I love that Bushido is just fucking like not selling emotion. That's fucking great. Keep the character up. I love that. I love that. He's spinning around. Yep. Straight into Luminous.
キキなんか分かったことすごいです
And Dance Dance Revolution with your hands.
どこで生まれたのか。この子が言うにはどこか遠い銀河の果てだって言うんです。
そりゃ銀河はいくらでもあるけどどこかが問題だよ。
おそらく多分もしかしてそれはまだ見ぬ銀河。エモルギアは私たちを未知の世界へ連れてってくれる天使だと思いませんか。
That's an interesting thought.
そうですよ。
The problem is there's two of them. There's two of them. I feel like we're looking into a double scenario.
多元地球でエモルギア事案発生。現地の監視許可コンビと捜査に乗り出すレイジ。復讐に飲み込まれた喜びを解き放つため金のギャバンが立ち上がる。次回超宇宙刑事ギャバンインフィニティキキとコト。あなたに笑顔を取り戻す。
Yeah, I get the feeling this is a double scenario. I don't know why, but I get the feeling this is gonna like Gavan Luminous. I think is gonna be a Kamen Rider double scenario, right? Like, there. I don't know why I get this feeling, especially because like they made like in the outro, they made it a point to focus on both of those girls. So it makes me feel like both Kiki and Coco are going to be Luminous as a whole. It's going to be a double situation. I don't know why, because obviously you can only go off of the previews and it looks like it's only one person, but if I'm going to believe that the other one is, if like one of them is AI, then I can see that how that would be. Excuse me. So ultimately what we're looking at here now is an overall, like, in terms of just basing ourselves off of these two episodes, right? the way it feels to me is that this is what I like to call a feel-good tokusatsu. And what do I mean by that? When I say a feel-good tokusatsu, I mean like it's not like lore heavy. You know what I mean? Like this is not like this is like we need to dig into it like we would with Zets. This is more like if I had to guess here, like if I had to like put it in words, let me turn it down a little bit. If I had to put it into words, the best way I can describe it is Ryu Soldier was that. Ryu Soldier was like, it wasn't really lore heavy, but there was still like a dynamic there. There was like it was all about camaraderie, right? So it's definitely like this series feels like if I were to base it just on those 2 episodes. No, Kamen Rider Saber is the exception. It's the only Kamen Rider that I think had an ending dance. I think Saber is the odd man out in the entire run of Kamen Rider that has an ending dance. Right? It's kind of like, because Kamen Riders never had that. They're like the exception to the rule. I guess, I don't know what the idea was behind that, right? But if I were to say, it's like, this whole thing is meant to make you feel good as you watch it. It's not meant to make you overthink. It's not meant to make you wonder what's coming next. It's very much a series that is set up for you to take it as it comes and enjoy in the moment, right? This is why I said I think it's going to be good, but it's not going to be on a Zets tier level, right? It's going to be really good because you're going to enjoy watching it, right? You don't got to think about it too much. You can take it as it comes and enjoy it for what it is. And by so far, they've developed, they've like done a really damn good job of it. They've like got this mailed out because again, it is taking some cues from Super Sentai with the mech. It is taking some cues. But again, Dane, you don't have to apologize, man. This is just, it's a stream. You don't gotta apologize, you know? Again, I'm never mad at the stuff you do. You don't need to apologize to me, okay? You don't need to do that. Right? Like, we're chill. We're chill. I'm never going to be mad at you for anything you say, because I understand where you're coming. You love this stuff. So you don't need to apologize to me ever. Don't worry about it. But ultimately, what I'm thinking is that they've developed a methodology here, right? They want to make sure, and again, this is a big deal, right? Gavan coming back is a big deal. So they don't want to throw too much at the new viewer, right? Because let's be honest, a lot of people watching Gavan, because this is directed at the kids, right? Obviously, the time slot is always for the kids, but mainly more than that, they don't want to alienate their new audience with the kids, but they know that legacy viewers of the OG Gavan, and maybe even a few of the 2014 reboot are here. The OGs know Gavan from the 80s, the 90s. They know Gavan and the Space Sheriffs. So while they don't want to alienate their new audience by, not giving them too much, they also don't want to insult their legacy audience because they are making a lot of nods. So you got this mix and mash of like the old and the new, right? It's enough to keep the old heads happy, but also enough to get the new heads in. And then like as they're watching, learn more about the Space Sheriffs. It's almost like I don't want to say indoctrination, but it's definitely getting the new heads involved. Because once they learn more about what's going on, they will ultimately then be able to go like, look at the old heads and go, yo, what was Space Sheriff Gavan originally like? And then the old heads could look at him and go, let me tell you about the old Gavan, kiddo. And like, they'll just go right into the joint. So to me personally, I think this is well done. It's very well done in the fact that it places the old people and the new people. And it hits this nice little middle ground, but not to the point where this is going to become like a drama or anything. Like, this is not going to be emotionally charged, even though, yes, the emotions are the power-ups here. Emotions are the power-ups. But I mean, like, there's not that much of an emotional investment, right? With Zetch, you have an emotional investment because there's a constant ongoing storyline being told, right? But again, that's something really difficult to throw at a new audience for Gavan. That's difficult to throw at them. So the way I see it is, this is meant to be a middle ground where it's gonna be kind of monster of the week format, but also not, right? Like, for example, you saw that monster, like, even though it was two different Immortals, it was kind of the same thing. So the monster isn't really the deal. The more intrinsical part are the personalities. That freaking goofy motherfucker with the metal arm, that's the character. That's the one that we wanted to focus more on. Because if you look at it like that, Dark Gavan, which I'm going to call him, or Gavan Black, or whatever they're going to call him, he has clearly betrayed the Space Sheriffs. He has pretty much betrayed the Space Force. So, what does that mean? What's his involvement? He's going to be that dark character that just keeps showing up, and we're never going to know exactly what his thing is, right? But we do know there's going to be 3 Gavans, and possibly later down the line 2 more. So, the question now here is, what's going on with him? What's his whole deal, right? What is his whole dealio, right? Clearly, he is the one distributing these Amor gears to different dimensions, right? So there's still enough of a thread there to keep you invested, but we're not bombarding you with, like, all these things that need to be questioned, right? We just have a simple through line. Our guy fights through dimensions. This other guy is also a Gavan, this dark guy. So clearly he's able to travel between dimensions, and clearly he's doing it outside of the Space Force, because his suit gives off the illusion of, oh yeah, this motherfucker ain't with us. So what's his deal, right? But that's the through line. With Zetch, you're coming in there with 20 different questions as to what's going on, what's going to happen in the next episode, right? With Gavan, just keep it simple, stupid. Simplification, right? You want to keep this as accessible as possible for the new audiences, but also give a nod to the old audiences. So there's a through line here. Who is this dark figure? He's clearly our villain, but what's his deal? Why is he doing this, right? Like, that's a simple plot line that you can go through and keep teasing that throughout the episodes while following a Monster of the Week or Villain of the Week format, right? So ultimately, they're keeping it simple. They're not doing anything outlandish because they want to see how this show lands. They want to see how the audience is going to take to this, which is a very smart move on their behalf. Because again, Zetch was a risk, right, to bring to the U.S. audience. That is a massive risk that they took. We're talking here about restarting an old franchise that's been dormant for the better part of possibly 20 years, with the occasional sporadic appearance here and there. That's the big thing. What? They don't want to, like, rock the boat too hard. They want to make sure that the Space Sheriffs have staying power. They want to make sure that Gavan is going to hit, and it's going to be enough for them to pump out yearly iterations. They want to be able to say that about Gavan, but they need to know if it's going to hit. That's why they're kind of like towing the line here. They're like playing it safe while still having some storytelling elements in the process. So it's in this middle ground that keeps it exciting, but overall you just feel good watching it, right? Because you're getting like action, you're getting adventure, and a little bit of story in here there. There's an investment there. But and not enough to get you like questioning everything, but enough to be like, man, that was awesome. I can't wait to see what they do next week. Like that kind of feeling. It's that feel good tokusatsu that like you're gonna sit and you're gonna watch it. You're not gonna dissect it. You're gonna enjoy it for what it is and just be like, man, I'm glad I saw that. Ryu Soldier, I think, also like going back to my example, I think Ryu Soldier was really good at that. Like, it was still kind of very Monster of the Week-ish, but there was still kind of like this looming thing with the Knights in the background with their thing going on. And then it all compounded at the end. And it compounded at the end in a way that, like, your investment throughout the show pays off. Because when you get to that last stretch, and then you hear that impassioned speech from Ryusou Pink, you will start crying. Like I'm man enough to admit that when I got to that scene, I was in shambles. I was in tears because of that. Because it was like at that moment, everything we went through with these heroes, only to come out with her speaking the truth about this false world that the main bad guy created, where everything is just hunky dory, where everything is just perfect, and then her realizing what the problem is, and then just outright screaming it. That it was a perfect world, but it's not truly a perfect world if I can't join it with my friends. That shit hits. And it hits you on an emotional level. Because what was that entire series about? Really, knightmanship. A kinship amongst knights. Friendship. Camaraderie. And it compounds in that moment. When she says that impassioned speech, you can't help but cry. But through... Which, again, again, it's literally taking that, even though that investment was very much, like, just, again, a feel-good, like, going in week to week, because it just feels good to watch. When you get hit blindsided at the end with that emotional twist that makes you realize your investment was more important than you thought it was. And then it just comes out in an emotional burst, and when they win... You are just sob laugh, like just sob smiling. You're crying still, but you let out that smile of yes, because like it all comes to a head, and they were really good at that. And I feel like maybe my opinion might change over the next few episodes, you know, like because I don't know in what way, like how the story's gonna go. There could be a more of an emotional storyline intrinsical thing going on later, but for what it stands right now, from what I'm seeing, it gives off that feel-good Toku vibe to me, and that's what makes the most sense. It's what feels the best. It's ultimately what I feel like it's going to end up becoming, right? Like, because definitely, here's the thing, everything on the level right now kind of exists in a, I don't want to say superficial way, but it exists in a way where there's not enough deep rabbit hole for us to go through. But in the world that it's building and the people in it, there is a definite interest. And now you're toying along, you've added this, in the second episode, you added this thread of the Dark Gavan. What's his dealio? So now there's your hook. You're in. You're now in it for the long run. But ultimately, it depends on how hard they're going to go with this, right? What's his joint? What's his dealio? And ultimately, there's your investment. There's a little bit of a story there, but it's more of an initial investment, right? It's got you now. Now your story has come in. You're already emotionally invested in these characters. Here comes the story to hook you in by the ribs and pull you in. Like, it's got you. It's got you now. We're now in this for the long run. This ain't going to be, we just wanted to look at the first few episodes and call it. Nah, we're in it now. We are in this now. We are in this for the long haul. So, by all means, they are executing flawlessly. Now, will that translate to toy sales? I don't know. It's too early to say. But just looking off of that mech and just how amazing these suits look, I feel like that is something you would want in your arsenal. And considering the transformation item is a gun, like at that point, yeah, man. Like I feel like you've got something here. You've got something here. So ultimately, it is doing a damn good job of what it's doing. Definitely keeping it safe. Definitely, but still, you know, pushing ground here, pushing new ground. It's got this nice balance going on. It's got this nice balance going on. And I think that ultimately, we're actually going to be doing well here. I think Gavan, I think, is going to do all right. But we won't be able to truly gauge just how much it's going to, how big of it is until we get a few more episodes in. Right now is an exciting time for Tokusatsu. Right now is very much an exciting time for Toku. So if you know someone who's been like, you know, like kind of on the fence about looking into Toku, I think now is the time for them to get them to look into current day stuff. Because I feel like with Gavan's restarting and Zet's being such a good entry point for people, like right now you need to get your friends looking at live Toku, like as it's happening. Watch the simulcast and then watch the dub of Gavan on whatever site you prefer to watch it on next day. Right now is a good time to be a Toku fan, man. And right now is a good time to introduce people into the glory that is Tokusatsu. And if you got a friend right now that like got in because of Zets, grab them by the arm, heist them over, and say, let me show you this cool thing called Gavan Infinity. Because I feel like Gavan's going to be a great entry point as well for a lot of people getting into Metal Heroes. Because, man, I'm having fun with this so far. And that's the name of the game right now. If you can't go for intrigue like Zets, go for fun. And my God, y'all hit me with the fun. And I'm loving it. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. It's Gavin Shows. Hey. All right. That'll going to do it for me today, folks. I will see you guys next week for another episode of the Space Sheriff Gav-sudan. Always a pleasure to do these live react shows with you guys, as live reacts and discussions. I love it. This is very much what I enjoy doing the most. I love playing games on stream, too, don't get me wrong, and I do that mainly on the Purple platform, and I have a separate gaming channel. But these shows that we're live reacting and discussion with, I love it because now there's a sense of community. We're talking about this stuff, and we're enjoying this together. Now, I don't know what I'm going to do in regards to the Discord because obviously we have the whole age verification thing going on. So I don't think I'm going to I'm going to like give up on the idea of a Discord server, and we're going to look elsewhere. I don't know where I'm going to start it, but we are going to look elsewhere because I want to make sure that we get everybody in on the discussion because this is Toku, baby. This is a great community to be a part of, and I want y'all to stick with me as we go through this. So I appreciate y'all for coming out. Thank you so much on Twitch. Let's see who we're gonna read into today. Who are we going to send the love to on this Friday? You know what? You just followed me recently. Let's go send the love on Twitch to my boy Mike Burnfire. Honestly, Mike Burnfire is kind of one of the reasons why I got into streaming. Because, man, that guy can tell a story just with the Fallout New Vegas engine alone. Like, that guy's really talented. So, I'm going to send you guys over to my boy Mike Burnfire. When you get over there, show him the love in the Henshin Core way that you do. On YouTube, the stream is just going to end. So, don't worry about that. But until next week, guys, my name is Callsign Henshin, your mercenary with the kicks, coming to you live from 2286. Reminding you that the future is yours and yours alone to conquer. Conquer it by any means necessary. And I will see you all next week for another edition of the Kamen Rider Zetsudan and the Space Sheriff Gav-sudan. Until then, I will see you guys next time. Peace out!